Well, we usually cast by most of the normal process or deeper capital. Wasn't it?
But they just wanted to wish us well, I think, on the way to go. So
well, welcome, fellow workers, anyway, and pleased to see you here. And I'd just like to outline the bit of action that we took yesterday. Our members, in conformity with the Federation policy, and the press statement that was issued from this branch to the media yesterday, and we felt that it was appropriate. Members of the Melbourne branch of the Waterside Workers Federation have taken industrial action in protest against the presence of the USS Paul Foster, a floating nuclear war base in the port of Melbourne, in the nuclear-free state of Victoria. This action, in line with Federation ACTU policy, expresses our opposition to the nuclear arms race and nuclear war preparations in general. We are also very concerned for the safety of the port and the city of Melbourne and its people. The state government, by its refusal to accept responsibility for an accident in the port involving a nuclear warship, admits that port safety in relation to nuclear-armed and nuclear-powered ships is in disarray. Our policy remains no nuclear warships in Australian ports, and we support a genuine nuclear-free Pacific. It seems funny to me anyway that we've got a situation
from the Able Tasman at station. What we were going to suggest, and of course it's up to you because you're going to do it. We've got the bus to take us to Princess Pier with our gear to demonstrate our opposition. But we thought it would be not much point in standing on the pier looking at the ship, and what we thought we could do is go to the people in the near vicinity in Port Melbourne and make our position known to them. And that we could do that by getting back and perhaps do something at the pier, just say to the register our position, but then get in the bus and go back up to Bay Street, which is the main shopping centre of Port Melbourne, and go to first of all, to the local newspaper, the Emerald Hill and Sandwich Times, which is covering this question. Floating nuclear war base perched down at Princess Pier 2 miles from the General Post Office, particularly in view of the fact that that government has absolved itself from any responsibility of a nuclear accident involving a warship in this port. That is an enormously contradictory situation. I don't think anyone would blame them for not taking the responsibility, but to leave it at that and to leave the warship there raises a lot of questions to be asked. We would be leaving those with butter. We would then suggest going across to hand out some leaflets in the shopping centre and perhaps explain to the people what we're doing and why we're there with a brief meeting, and then go to the town hall where this committee of 9 unions that's been working on this matter would like to do 2 things with the town hall. We'd like to express our appreciation of the fact that they've been very cooperative with the unions on this issue. They've assisted us in a number of ways. They've joined us with the signing of a leaflet on the matter, and the first public leaflet that we got out on it, They've provided accommodation for public meetings for us and have generally been very cooperative. We want to express our appreciation of that, but also point out to them that as an important local authority, we are very concerned about this whole issue and want to continue our cooperation and keep going. We thought that that would be a and it's a good reputation already, and the dockies are down there, I believe. So what we're going to go is now down in the bus to the pier. George is going ahead with the sandwich boards that we've got with the statements of all the unions.
Back in the car, but back in the car. In the car.
Did you get that? Were you working today? Yeah, I got a relief. What's that? You're after a bit of retirement. They did give me that. Oh, you said on about Johnny today?
No, he's on holidays. Coming in Tuesday morning, said just Andy wanted a week off. Mrs. got on. Going to the mother.
So he's got a week off on the list.
I meant to say there's an apology.
It's like petrol tank with a tank on the back of the ship. They just put on the wharf. The tank comes in, fills it up, and then away they go. Well, it's the company's own fault. They didn't have anyone there to check the tank. I mean, there's no sight lines. I mean, it's just all to breathe the cat for a rod there.
Were they those big tanks we built?
Yeah.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Yeah.
That was their lube oil.
Small things you never have to worry about.
Yeah. Yeah, steam would have been well, usually you can do something, you do what you have to. You fix the problem, don't you? You do work on it, so you won't fix any problems. It would have been, well, first of all,
47.
Just give him a push. Play what we're doing. Is there balls over there? Yellow ones.
Whereabouts do you want?
Just by those yellow balls, mate. Near edge.
What we're suggesting
Space range just faces the clear. Is either one
following our successful stop work yesterday, we now are here to gather to let the people of Port Melbourne and the people of Victoria know what is happening behind us. We have got nuclear missiles on the ship, and I believe with all the affiliates here and the delegates that they are a detriment to Victorian people and mainly the Port Melbourne and Garden Vale people, residents that live around here. And I believe that these ships should be left outside and not be in any danger to our community at large. We are here this morning to show that all the trade union movement with people working with the Port Melbourne and put to the Minister what safeguards these people have got when if and when a nuclear accident happens in our port. Before going any further, I'd like to introduce now Jack Murray. Jack? This is a protest of shop stewards around the port, of the 10 unions that are involved, the maritime unions and the ship repair union. And it's a small demonstration, it's not all the workforce, but on Sunday here at 2 o'clock we'll have a mass demonstration of protest against these vessels that will come into the port, that are in the port at the present time. So we'll not be here too long because we're just on the committee's behalf, that's the Combined Trade Unions Anti-Nuclear Ships Committee. I would like to point out that we're not here in any un-American, anti-American capacity. We've got nothing racially against Americans coming to Australia, as long as they don't bring nuclear weapons with them. And our own delegation is probably made up of representatives or people from every nationality on the earth. From Italy, Malta, we've got people from Poland here, Croatians, you name it. Our own delegation is, for want of a better word, multicultural. What we are concerned is that the 75th anniversary of the Australian Navy, which purportedly these ships are here to celebrate, is being promoted under the banner of protecting Australia. Yet just recently we had Lieutenant Commander Lynch, the former officer in charge of nuclear ship visits to Western Australia, categorically state that there was no strategic reason whatsoever why probably run along, making a speedy exit before we get to his office, I think. What we are concerned with as port workers, most of the blokes here are either shop stewards or job delegates from all of the workshops, all the industries, waterside, stevedoring, to pursue that aim. And it also guarantees that all Victorians should have a safe working environment. So we've got a continuing situation where the government continues to make a mockery of, firstly, its own proclamation of Victoria as a nuclear-free state, and also its own legislation that supposedly guarantees us a safe working environment. And we've got a ridiculous situation now where the elected guardians of the nuclear-free state are using the forces of the state, the police, etc., to protect these poor nuclear vessels from the community and port workers. Whereas under their own legislation it should be in reverse. We should be the ones being protected from these vessels. And that's the point we'll be making to Bunna Walsh and to the state government with our open letter that we're making available to the media as well as to Bunna Walsh and the state government. Thank you. Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Sean. Thank you very much. I think that our speeches have finished as from now. We will be gathering together now and we'll be marching on to Bay Street Shopping Centre.
maintain a stance that this is a nuclear-free state. You drive around the signs are everywhere, yet just behind us is the call at Boston, 24 nuclear warheads on board. Well, I mean, how long are we going to have to tolerate a situation where, you know, our rights to a safe working environment are continually violated? I don't know how long this situation is going to go on, but we're here today in part to address the local member, that's Bunham Walsh, member for Elton Park and the state government to try and convict. Carrying 24 nuclear armed missiles. I know there were attempts yesterday to convince the Lord Mayor of Melbourne that the vessel didn't carry nuclear weapons, and we find that patently absurd to expect the Americans to traipse their fleet 3/4 of the way around the world, and in the knowledge that the Russians shadow them and they shadow each other, then they come this far and not bring their nuclear weaponry with them. We just don't know.
Right, yeah, really good. Yeah, yeah, no worries. Right. Thanks a lot.
Anytime. That'll be $10.
$10?
You're right.
Even over capacity, he's a bloke just resigned. It's amazing, it's unbelievable. You know, when you realise
they were assured that he was honest with them.
it's just a big joke. And I did it at the government, they got a nuclear-free Victoria. Bloody nuclear. That's right. They might decide Victoria engines.
Take some of those, take what you just appeared and give to people who might be wondering what we're doing. One of my big troubles. G'day, how are you?
Good, are you Harry?
Yeah, I rang you last night.
Yeah, that's right. I passed it on to Scott.
Well, we are now going to go along May Street. And we're going to communicate as best we can with people about this issue. Particularly in view of the fact that the state government has absolved itself from any responsibility for a nuclear accident in this port, or an accident relating to nuclear fuel. The state government has told the federal government that if those ships keep coming here, then they will not be responsible for any accident. That's been widely reported, and consequent to that, the federal government's now setting up an inquiry into the adequacy of port safety, but the ships are still coming. And it's those,
So what are your port workers doing at the moment with the ships in dock now?
well, we're doing this protest this morning and this consultation with the people of Port Melbourne. Yesterday, waterside workers stopped work on both shifts, the day shift and the evening shift. And they were joined by storemen and packers at freight bases.
How safe do you think it is for them docking here?
Which makes 3 if you count the American 2 that they've lost.
So when you say you're consulting with the people, what are you hoping to inform them on?
Well, he may not be there with the leaving message.
We weren't able to contact him. We tried, but we weren't able to get through to him.
Great, alright, I like coming along with you. I'll just get our photographer a call.
Okay. G'day, gents.
Right.
Just a quick word with you. What groups are involved?
There are 10 units. Shop stewards and job delegates for the waterfront.
Right. Right. What happens then about dispersal?
Well, we've got a bus. We're coming a bus and we're going a bus.
And or from there, where do you head off to then?
Back to work. All over the place.
All right. So, you're kicking off now?
We're going to another. We're due back at work at 11 o'clock.
11, all right. No, we haven't got too much time for it. Right. Just get some names. What's your name?
My name's Harry Baker. The representative is Jason.
I'm the representative of the branch, WWF, Waterfront. Okay. Joe Sacco. S-A-C-C-O.
And it's Waterside
Workers Federation.
What's that?
WWF. WWF. 2 W's.
You're from the Melbourne. What's your name?
Sean Mercer.
Conducted an interview with some of the staff of the Emerald Hill Times, who will now be joining us on our delegation deputation to Bunna Walsh's office. Joe's also conducted an interview with the local police, who have agreed to us marching on the road behind the utility and stopping traffic at the intersections and so forth, so there shouldn't be any problems. But we haven't got too much time, so we'll have to be fairly prompt. And as soon as the police are ready, they requested a couple of minutes to get set. Well, we'll form up behind the ute and march down to Bunna Walsh's office. And they have requested that most of us stay on the footpath outside Bunna's office, which is okay because we're not going to try and invade Bunna's office. We're simply there to hand him a written statement which we want him to respond to, not necessarily today, and then we'll proceed to the town hall.
Everything a little bit higher, John.
Been a slight change, mate. We're going to post on first.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Knowledge, information on the danger to TV.
Have you got food in display at this age?
Spell out.
Chairman of our committee, invite Barnard to respond when he can.
And the right to the branch anyway.
It's been circulated by membership, and we'll whatever Barnard's responses will be circulating that, let the members know what Barnard has taken up and got to say on the issue.
Is he not there?
Barnard's done
He's hiding under the table. So get out from under there, Barnard. Come on.
Simply a handout, a sheet. It's an open letter put together by our committee on behalf of the membership, and we are expecting a response. And we're expecting something more than the typical response that we've had so far from the likes of Race Matthews and Premier Kane on this issue. We're hoping that Bunna can put Port Melbourne on the map with a decent sort of response to this very important question. Time will tell. Anyway, time's running out, so we have to move on to the post office very quickly just to do a brief explanation to the people in Bay Street is why we're here.
You'd be better off on the road, I think.
Well, we're here.
Next way you go. Just get to the post office. Yeah, I know. Then you get up there. Yeah. They don't mind. What do you want to do?
And inside
Why don't you surprise
I haven't got the
take
iPhone.
something home for her?
I haven't got the iPhone.
I will tell you what they are.
Oh yeah, but then I might have bought the wrong thing. But if she was there, she'd have bought a fair bit off, I'll tell you.
Read out their declarations so we can record.
Friends and fellow workers, as I spoke to you before, I represent the committee from the maritime unions who are all against any nuclear ships visiting our ports, and that committee has organised an open letter to our local member here, Bunna Walsh, which we have presented to his staff because he wasn't there, and I would like now to read to you the organisations who support this committee. That is the Waterside Workers Federation Melbourne branch, the Amalgamated Metal Workers Union, the Seamen's Union, Ship Painters and Dockers Union, Australian Workers Union, Railways Union, Maritime Marine Stewards and Patrolmen Association, Hospital Employees Federation No. 1 branch, Plumbers and Guest Fitters Employees Union, Foreman Stevedore Association, Waterside Workers Federation Melbourne Ship and Clark branch, Miscellaneous Workers Union, Technical Teachers Union of Victoria, Administrative and Clerical Officers Association. They're the people who we represent. Their policies are written on our boards, which we have got with us, and they all support the actions that realise these people are using all their resources to protect a nuclear carrying warship against the people of Port Melbourne and the people of Victoria. Without any further ado now, I would like to hand over Sean Murtagh, who represents the metal trades. To mention, we're here on behalf of the Combined Trade Unions Anti-Nuclear Ships Committee. We're here to voice our protest at the presence in the Port of Melbourne, just down the end of this street here, a few hundred metres away, of the nuclear-armed Paul F. Foster, Spruance class destroyer of the US Navy, which is at this present time has on board 24 nuclear warheads capable of blowing every major city in Australia off the map completely. And we went to local member Bunna Walsh's office. Unfortunately, we weren't able to arrange a situation where we were able to announce that we would be coming. We tried yesterday, but it's not Bunna's fault that he wasn't there. We must say that. We had hoped he would be in attendance and would be able to make an immediate response. However, we did leave him our open letter, and it's not a handout, it's not a leaflet, it's an open letter with a series of questions, and we are requesting both Bunna Walsh and the state government to respond to a letter that we've put together on behalf of our membership. Now, the letter says that this combined delegation of shop stewards and job delegates representing port area workers from all industries and amenities, by amenities I mean such leakage or a nuclear accident. All of those services that service the Port of Melbourne, they're represented here today by shop stewards and job delegates. And we urgently request answers to the following questions in regard to the continuing visits of nuclear warships to Victorian ports. And we ask, is the state government and the local member aware that we, as port workers and trade unionists, are not satisfied with the state government's statements that overall port safety plans are the responsibility of the federal government? In other words, the Minister responsible, Ray Matthews, is saying that it's not the state government's responsibility if an accident occurs with these nuclear ships. Well, we're saying that what makes them think that they can opt out of their responsibility just like that? They have a responsibility to the people of this community. And we're asking, what specific action is the state government and the local member, don't forget Bunner, what action are they taking to protect the lives and well-being of port workers and the port community in regard to the threat posed by these nuclear accidents that may happen on our bay? Does the state government and the local member intend to inform both the port workers and port residents? We ask again, just how exactly does the state government intend to guarantee our safe working environment under that Act? And again, we want to know why the state government hasn't pursued its constitutional right to refuse entry to nuclear warships to Victorian ports. If you remember, before in 1983, I think it was, Malcolm Fraser tried to raise the question of introducing legislation to prevent the states from taking action over the entry of warships. Well, that legislation failed to be passed, and when the Labor government came in, it still wasn't legislation. So the states do have the Constitution. An amazing situation whereby the US Pacific Fleet is the authority that decides how many nuclear ship visits take place in Australian ports. They're the authority, not the Australian government. The Federal Minister for Defence, Mr Beasley, has admitted this in Parliament, that the US Pacific Fleet are the people who decide how many ships and when they'll come here. It's wonderful for Australian national sovereignty. Now we are asking, is this the deliberate intention of our elected guardians of the nuclear free state? And we're looking forward to Bunner's response. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Now, Harry's got something else to add to that, and feel free, if you may, to ask us any questions if you don't understand what we're explaining to you, because I think we will be readily willing to do that on your behalf.
To the Mayor and Councillors of the City of Port Melbourne, from job delegates and shop stewards, from trade unions, working with members working in the port or its near vicinity. Today we are protesting publicly against the presence in the port of Melbourne of the nuclear warship USS Paul Foster. Such protest is in accord with the policies of our respective unions and of the ACTU. That policy opposes the use of Australian ports by nuclear-powered, nuclear-armed warships as part of its stand for a genuinely nuclear-free Pacific. Not only is the increasing use of Australian ports by such vessels locking Australia into the escalating nuclear arms race and contributing to the nuclear militarisation of the Pacific area, but it is also representing a serious threat to the port, to the whole city and its people, in the event of a random nuclear accident for which no apparent plan or preparation to protect the safety of the people in the area is evident. This is a very serious implication of the action of the Victorian State Government in its refusal to take responsibility in the event of an accident in the port which involves a nuclear vessel. We have today registered our very deep concern on this issue to the local Member of Parliament and Minister in the nuclear-free state of Victoria, Mr R.W. Walsh, and to a brief public meeting at the Port Melbourne residence in Bay Street. We leave with you a copy of our submission to Mr Walsh for your own information. We take this this opportunity to express our support for the ongoing stand of the Port Melbourne Council to make this city a nuclear-free zone. We appreciate the cooperation our unions have had with the Port Melbourne Council in the past on this issue. We look forward to the continuation of that cooperation in the future as we pursue the aims set out here. And that's the message we now would like to take to the Port Council. Oh, I see. Anywhere there's more than 4 marks, you'll get over. Another one for the low purple for the silver set. We've got the silver. Go on, keep bloody going. What section am I in? The silver tongue. We're not in the young not the silver spoon, Mum. I thought he was going to say for the old bastards, we get an old bastard. He would say it. He would say it.
World Trade Centre workers for nuclear disarmament. I mean, it's there. Just a matter of... As long as we get told about things. Oh, yeah, well... yeah, well, that's the way it happens, yeah. He does sometimes write to the ACOA, but you can't guarantee that it gets to me. But he does, wherever he thinks it's necessary, he sends a letter.
Oh, that's real. First up here.
That's before I become a tummy club.
Yeah. We live just over there, that place with the creeper. No, I didn't know. When the kids were away and we said, let's move. We came down here, we lived in Richmond and we had a ship from there. We came down here, but we only went to go, the bloke only took us to go.
We've got a deputation here from a number of unions involved around the place, and could we have a word with the town clerk so we can leave a message for us?
Town clerk secretary.
This is a deputation of some 40 shop stewards and job delegates from unions with members working in the port. It concerns the issue of the nuclear ship that's in the port. And we've been to see the local member, we've been to his office, and we have a message to leave for the Mayor and Council. With the Secretary, the town clerk.
All right. Did you want to see?
If we could, yeah. 42 shop stewards job there, which was the union members working in the court on the issue of nuclear ship. You're not our target, and first we said we'd like to leave a message to the Mayor and the Council on behalf of the Maritime Unions and the deputation, because we've had a lot of cooperation with you on the issue. Council, we've been to the Council. I'd like you to accept it. This is Stan Clark, the Acting Secretary of the Waterside Workers Federation.
How do you do?
Joe Sacco is the convener of the Maritime Unions Committee, and John Neal from the Miscellaneous Workers Union. Les Taylor's representing the Hospital Employees Union for Prince Henry's Hospital, the nearest big hospital. And Sean Murder from the Ship Repairs on behalf of the Rebel Workers Union. And we have the rest of the deputation outside, but that's why I'm here.
Copy of that too. Still want the money.
Treading in the dirt down the street.
That's okay.
But there's also, we've also, in the course of walking up Bay Street, where we've been to the post office, we explained to the local people about where we're going. There's some of your local constituents out the front, if you just want to say good day to them. We'll just tell them we saw you.
Yeah, I think that'll be sufficient. I think,
All
Harry.
right, then.
I'll give this to person and see if the council gets it.
Okay,
Thanks very much.
we'll be in touch with you.
Okay.
Right. Harry.
In touch with him this morning, and he indicated he may have some difficulty, but we have left with the town clerk a message for the mayor and councillors of Port Melbourne that was read out at the post office, and they said they would respond to that at the earliest opportunity. And that's just about bring me to say on behalf of all the unions concerned, we appreciate your attendance and your efforts, and also the support we've had from the local people in Port Melbourne, and we can assure them that we'll be continuing along with these efforts, and we look forward to cooperation with them in the future. So, and anybody who would like to work with our combined unions committee, see Joe Sacco or Sean or myself, and we'll be only too happy to keep in touch with you on the job and keep battling on till we achieve what we want to do on this issue. The buses, we're just about going to make it for our $60, so the bus will be going back to the Waterside Workers Union office now.
I think we should try and co-op young Alan. Send it.
We'll put my